Now I think we can start. Is it okay? Okay. So welcome everyone for this session 4 for experiencing the authentic self. And I hope all who joined have already attended last 3 sessions or watched our videos. Now before we move, just one ground rule. Please don't put any chat while somebody is speaking. We will have a question answer session at the end. At that time, you can ask by unmuting your mic, or you can put your question on the chat box. Thank you. So, before we move for today's, you know, real session, I think let's recap for the previous sessions what we have learned. So, I will give you just some brief about it. So, on the first session, we learned about that we are not the body, we are something else, and we termed as we are the souls. And we also learned about what are the qualities of the soul and how soul operates. And then we further dig down and realize that our soul works through mind, intellect, and impressions, and how each of these uh, affect each other, that also we have seen. And how the impressions, our sanskars, play a role in creating thoughts, and how bodily sanskars have closed our intellects. Then further we moved to look into three worlds. Basically, these are a different conscious level of us as a soul where we operate. So first is the physical world where currently we are, and most of us, when we are body conscious, we operate in this region of our consciousness. But slowly, when we raise our consciousness, we operate in the form of light, and this is a subtle world, we call it. And then further, when our consciousness raised to the level where we just see ourselves as point of light, and that is the ultimate consciousness, and we say that we are operating at soul world. So basically these are the concepts for three worlds. And then we went into the concept of God, what is incorporeal God and his attributes, and then how he looks. Basically he is same as all of us, a point of light. And where he resides, we knew that he operates from the soul world, and he is the most purified soul. So this is the recap for from the previous sessions, and now let's have some meditation experience on what we have learned so far. So I request everyone to just relax, sit straight, take a deep breath. With each breath, feel that I am relaxing. My body is relaxed. Stress free. Now, as I am relaxing, I bring my concentration to center of my forehead. Slowly, my concentration is at my center of forehead. Feel that I am a sparkling, shining star full of light. Now I can see myself as a soul, a point of light. And when I am this soul conscious state, all my original qualities of being peace, love, happiness, power emerging out. Slowly, I feel more powerful, peaceful, as if my consciousness is now lifting this point of light, and slowly I am moving up beyond this physical world. I see myself in the body of light, and I reach in the subtle region where I can see white light all around. I feel like angel radiating light all around. And at this stage, I also connect to all other souls, all the physical matters, and give my vibration to all of them. Feel as if you are giving your pure vibration to the world. Now my consciousness is further pulled up to my original home, the soul world. I see myself in the light, golden red light, where pure silence, that silence is there. And in front of me, there is another soul, very powerful. He is my supreme soul, my father. I can feel the sensation of him. I can feel those vibrations now. I can feel the power of God. I am connected with God, my Baba, the Supreme Soul. I'm getting all the power from Him. What a wonderful experience I am having. Now, slowly, I come down, slowly, slowly, to the physical world, into my body, seated at the center of my forehead. with this beautiful experience of God, my Supreme Soul. Now I feel that I am connected to my source. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So now I welcome Sister Sonal to take us through further session. Welcome, Sister Sonal. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here this evening. We've just gone into the second part of the Raja Yoga meditation course, and it gets very interesting here. And we still have to keep a very deep and open intellect and awareness. Today we're introducing the philosophy of karma, and everyone knows this term karma. But we're just going to explore it a little further today. And also what I've recognized is a lot of people think karma is a bad thing or a negative thing. But karma just means action. So we are going to have a brief discussion or topic or discuss the topic of the philosophy of action. So we all know, like most people know that this terminology that whatever you sow, so you shall reap, okay? But we really don't know the true deeper meaning of it. We just think, yes, if we do good, good will come back to us. But we're not able to, we know it for our now, but we're not able to connect it to the past or our future. And hence, we keep on doing actions or thinking thoughts or creating words that are creating negative karmic debts because we're not aware of the full impact of this philosophy. So yes, the philosophy does say that whatever you sow, so shall you reap. It also means that every thought, word, of action of yours has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay. So we'll just go into the 3 types of karma. We'll just maybe have a look at the slide. It's a beautiful little saying there. Life is an echo. What you send out comes back. What you sow, you reap. What you give, you get. What you see in others exists in you. Beautiful. So to start this session, we look at the different types of karma or actions that I perform through my body. And the first action is we call the positive, just like we had the positive thoughts, it's the positive action. And remember, we talked about wherever action we do gets imprinted in the sanskaras. And according to those sanskaras, I behave and attract things in my life, okay? And the quality of a sanskara determines what happens to my intellect, because if I keep on doing negative sanskaras, it begins to weaken my intellect, because my intellect is pure, powerful, divine when my sanskaras are soul conscious and pure. So what is negative karma? Negative karma is any karma performed in the consciousness of the body. It is any karma that is done for self-gratification, for selfish reason. It is any karma that takes from someone. Okay. And so whatever it's whatever I do, whatever negative karma I do becomes like an account. It becomes like a karmic debt, which at some point I will have to pay back. So that's negative karma. So what is positive then? Positive karma is any action, thought, word, action based on soul consciousness. When I'm doing something for pure benevolent, for pure benevolence, I don't want anything from anyone. I just want to do because this is who I am. I just want to give, whether it's my love, my peace, or anything physical that I'm doing for something without any expectations back. So this is called positive karma. And the third type of karma is neutral karma. And neutral karma means an action that is necessary for our day-to-day living. So for example, driving a car to work, brushing our teeth, cooking food, we need to do these actions to perform our daily duties. So they don't necessarily create a karmic debt or a positive karma in our account. And so, however, neutral actions can become negative if done in body consciousness or the intention. So the intention is very important here. Okay, the intention determines whether I'm creating a karmic debt or there's just neutral there. So for example, if I'm brushing my teeth and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got such awful teeth, or I'm saying, oh my gosh, I've got such beautiful teeth, that's vanity. So it's all coming from body consciousness. So although the act is neutral, the intention behind it is creating a negative karma. So those are the three forms of karma, or types of karma rather. And what's important to know that whatever negative thought I sow, negative or positive karma I sow, whatever action I do, doesn't necessarily mean I reap the reward of it or the punishment of it in that moment. Each action I do is like a seed that I'm planting. So if we just look at all the seeds that we plant, the fruit and vegetable seeds, okay, each one gives you fruit at its own time. A mango tree will not give you mangoes in 3 months. It'll take years, okay? Whereas a tomato will give you in a couple of months. So just know that whatever you're doing has its consequence, and the consequence may be over time. And in the philosophy of Raj Yoga, we say that the soul is eternal, meaning it never dies. So even though the body dies, the soul takes rebirth. And so it can carry karma, positive and negative karma forward, and is able to feel the reap or the rewards of it or the punishment of it, even in different lifetimes. And so this is also discovered by a psychologist, and we know that psychologists don't really believe in karma, but people like Edgar Casey or Brian Weiss, they also found out through doing regression analysis that souls were going back in lifetimes, and the root cause of certain problems that they were facing in this lifetime was a consequence of something in the past. Okay, so the souls through hypnosis were taken back in the past. And really, it's not so necessary to do hypnosis to figure out what karmic actions I did that I'm reaping the consequence or reward of it now. It really isn't necessary. What is important to know is, if this is the case, if I am responsible for the consequences of my actions, then this gives me, from being helpless, I come into my power. And I know that whatever I'm going through now is a consequence of my past, and whatever happens to me in the future will be because of what I'm doing now. And this is really, really very powerful for us to understand. This also stops all the questionings of why, what, when, how did this happen? Because a lot of the times our energies are drained by these questions. Something happens in our lives or in the lives of close ones or in the world, and we start questioning, we start asking these questions, we really start beginning to drain the power of the soul. So this answers our question. We know whatever is happening is a result of some consequence that we have created, either singly or united. So that takes us to the next understanding of karma, that I can create karma with my own body. So if I am doing something to my body, whether take care of it with love, so with respect as a soul in the body, as an instrument, I am creating a positive impact with this body, and this body will then serve me. Or if I'm abusing my body through some, so abuse of substances or, whatever it is, maybe not eating well, feeding it the wrong things, then my body will suffer the consequence of it. So I create karmas with my own body. I also create karmas with others. Well, basically, the main karma that we have is with other beings. Okay, with ourselves, with our bodies, and with other souls. And these karmas is what brings us together in connection and in relationship with others. It is a settling of scores or karmic debts. Okay, so we have this kind of debit and credit account in our consciousness, in our sanskaras, where there is nothing that is gone. This is a universal law. So physically, we may skip something in the credits and, debits and credits in accounting. But in this universal law, nothing ever goes amiss. Everything is recorded. And we will receive the benefit of whatever positive we've created and also everything negative that we've created. This is the karmic law. And it's a tough one to grasp, especially when we don't know. Out of ignorance, we think we are receiving something because we're not aware, because it may be a very past childhood thing or even another lifetime karmic account that I'm settling. But generally, when the soul comes into the womb of a mother, it comes in around 4 to 5 months. When that movement begins, the soul has arrived. And in that remaining months before it comes out, the soul clears a lot of accounts. Okay, so many of the accounts are cleared, but there's still sanskaras from previous births remaining, which then begin to develop as the body of the soul grows, as the new body of the soul grows, and then they begin to show their true colors. Okay. So so we have accounts with the body, we have accounts with other souls, we have accounts with other sentient beings, animals. You may have heard people getting killed by an elephant, etc. And this is also karmic debt. In some lifetime, I may be a poacher. So we get very upset. We get really upset when we see all these things happening, like elephants being poached. But just know it is not your responsibility to get upset. There is a bigger, greater law that is going to take care of those negative actions of others. Okay. And we also have karmic accounts with nature. And on those, and I know many of you here have been in the previous yoga class, I think a couple of weeks ago, last week, where we really very much focused on the element of water. And I talked about how we are the masters of the elements, and the elements are here to serve us. And if we feel we're not being served by any particular element, we have some karmic accounts, like water either damages, we have constant problems with water, either lack of or over, then we have a negative karmic account with that element. Sometimes it's in the body, sometimes we've abused the body with that element, and then the organs connected to that element, like the bladder and kidneys, have problems. So we have also abused nature and our resources. And I see that so much, not just outside there, sometimes even in my own homes where, I really feel that like, do you really need to put that AC on? Do the lights really need to be switched on, at this moment? So, and it's not because of the bills, don't get me wrong, that's a secondary thing. But primarily, we know that some of these resources are limited in the countries we live in. So let us, conserve them. Let us respect these resources, conserve them. Let's not just leave these running taps on. I know at the farms where my parents were running a farm, and there's always this issue of the workers leaving the taps on, and the water would run, and my mom would just try to educate them on how people are suffering without water and how important it is to, when you see these things, to close the taps or repair them or whatever it is. And so this is the level of consciousness that we really have to activate within ourselves, because the consequences of that is these elements will not serve us. Okay? So we are constantly, through our thoughts, words, deeds, creating positive or negative karmic accounts with each other, with our bodies, with the world around us. So on the path, when we talk about this meditation, there's a lot of theory, because this meditation is very practical. It is karma in action. We are karma yogis, meaning we are doing actions in the state of soul consciousness, in the state of awareness. And why really do we need to do this is because this is one way of settling, or stopping rather, any further negative accounts. Okay. It is one very important way of stopping any negative accounts. And before we go into the different ways of settling negative accounts, I just want to also mention that we have karmas we create on our own, but we also, oh, by the way, we also have karmic accounts with lands, okay? So I'm living in Zambia at the moment, and I keep on coming, no matter how much I try to get away from Zambia. When I went away, I pushed my parents to send me away from my studies, and for whatever reasons, I came back. And then I get married, and I have this opportunity to go back, and then I came back. Why? Because I have an account with this land. Sometimes you see someone travel somewhere and they leave their bodies in that land, not their homeland where they're living in. That's because that was the karmic account that was calling them with that land, particular land. Sometimes you just walk into some spaces or some countries and you just feel so at ease and you just feel so comfortable. And then there are other countries you walk in, or other lands or homes or houses you walk in, and you just begin to feel very uncomfortable. This is all because the soul remembers the account. You may consciously not, but it's embedded, it's recording in the soul. And when you enter that space or land or country, that energy is, that memory is surfaces. So that's on the different types of karmic accounts we create. So we talked about how we can settle, number one, to really be yogis in action, meaning do all our karma in high, pure, elevated consciousness. And the second way is you just basically have to deal with what is thrown at you, okay? And know that this is your karma and you've got to just settle it. So things like difficult relationships, you know that why am I getting so much sorrow from the soul? It's because I have done something. Okay, I have done something to attract this in my life. And so let me settle this with love, because what's happening now is, because when we are not aware of that's why it's so important to be aware of this philosophy. When we don't know, then we think we are the victim and that's the perpetrator. And what we do is we give negative energy back. So we're really not settling. We are creating, and that soul will then create negative energy. So even in one birth we separate, we'll come back at some birth to clear that account. Okay, and it's not going to be good. So whatever account it is, let me settle with love. And of course, there's other accounts where are very, very toxic, and settling means that you break away ties. Okay. But these are all things. It's not very important. I really don't want to go too deep into, because this philosophy is a very deep and subtle philosophy. And the more you really step forward in this journey and begin to do the work that we talked about in the first session, the connection to your true self, the connection to the supreme, and that reminder and the activating of your own qualities, the more the wisdom of this awareness and understanding of karma will surface for you. And the wisdom will tell you really where to go, what to do without creating more karmic debts. So that the stuff that we did in the first session is the key to settle karmic debts, okay? And that's the best way we can settle karma, the easiest and best. So even though we may have a karma like a mountain, it will become like a molehill if I use that technique of meditation that we learned to really recognize yourself. So be in the state of self-awareness, of knowing who you are as you are, and in that state connecting to the supreme being, the supreme source, as in all relationships, as a mother, father, teacher, guide, okay, or whatever you want this one to be, and to really deeply unite this with this one and allow the settlement of the karma in a very natural way, because the more you fill up with that energy from the supreme, the divine, the more all your deep karmic accounts, which you're not even aware of, will begin to clear away. And if there's something huge in front of you and you feel this is so huge, again, you can take specific time in a day, over a couple of months, to really offer this or sacrifice this karma to the Supreme and allow that Supreme to do his role. Because really one of the roles of the divine, of God, of Baba, is to purify us, to liberate us from all our sins, all our deep negative karmic accounts. He's saying, I'm here, take my help. I will help you. I will lessen that burden. You don't have to carry it all on your own. So yes, we may not be aware of it. Yes, there may be a high load, which we've created, but that's okay. Because once I'm aware, once I know how to connect to that one, I'm able to lighten that load. And how we know that we've lightened the load is when we come out of that meditation, we'll begin to really feel lighter. And on the process, I mean, I know for me on this journey, the mind just begins to get lighter and lighter and freer and freer. And as that happens, things around in the physical world become lighter and lighter. And I feel like I'm just being liberated and liberated and liberated from all these karmic bondages. And what I've also become very aware of, and this is the wisdom that comes with the practice of Raja Yoga, is not to create so many karmic accounts. Less is more, simplicity. Because we will be talking more about this in the next sessions, but we are at a time in our journeys that we have to become karmatit, which means free of all action, negative and positive. Okay, So the positive actions helps us to reduce the negative load so that we come back to the state of neutral. The soul has no karma because remember, in its purest form, it's just pure blissful energy consisting of all those 7 qualities that we talked about: love, peace, joy, happiness, power, purity. Okay, so we are returning to the essence of who we are, and this is the time, whether you like it or not, this is the time. You either go kicking and screaming, or you do this work for yourself and lighten that load for yourself. And this is also the process of really going from the dark into the light. And when we do this work for ourselves, we really inspire others, we elevate and we uplift others. We become that lighthouse. So this is really the basics of this philosophy. I know previously when I've done this course, I've given certain examples where, you know, that felt really, really uncomfortable because karma is like that. And there are really, really a lot of, at every moment, we are either creating a karmic debt, or we are clearing a karmic debt, or we are accumulating something positive. So be very, very cautious of, and at all levels, through your thoughts, through your words, and through your deeds. Okay. So it's a short and sweet topic. I'm not going to take it very deep. I will just take a moment here to just kind of just wrap up this this topic with a little meditation, and then we'll have an open question round, because remember, you may have a lot of questions for this, and please do go ahead and ask, because it is important that you clear these. So just take a few moments, to just kind of understand this law of action. So I relax my body, quietening the mind. And I become aware of my thoughts, my words, and my actions as seeds. And I recognize that the quality of the seed I plant will determine what I receive or I reap. So let me reap the highest quality of returns of fruit for every seed that I sow through my thoughts, my words, my deeds. My every thought is now based on the consciousness of myself as this pure divine being of peace. I radiate peace and love and joy and happiness through my every thought. Every word that comes out of my mouth is one that uplifts, inspires, elevates, and purifies the self and those around me. And all my actions are now based on soul consciousness. I no longer take from others. I give love, I give happiness, I give peace. And automatically in return, without the intention of receiving, I receive abundance. abundance of love, abundance of happiness, abundance of power, abundance of peace. And my entire world changes. I attract only the best and the highest. And even if something doesn't happen as per my desires, I understand, I have the wisdom to know that this is for the highest good of all. And I let go, allowing the natural universal law to take effect. Om Shanti. So we can open up for questions. You can ask, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can write it in the chat.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jack.
So you said, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm just checking. You said that part of our kind of like becoming karma teachers to kind of have less karmic accounts with different things. So how do you go about doing that, having less karmic accounts?
Very good question. Thank you, Jack. So I know this is the opposite of what the world is going towards. You know, the world is this extreme materialism, extreme connections, extreme social this and social that. And the more we get entangled in all those things, the more we are trapping ourselves in this karmic web, and it's going to be very, very hard to get out of it. So whatever it is, less, simplify, less relationships. Of course, there are some relationships that are you can't get away from. You have to go to work because you've got to look after your body. You know, you've created children, or you have parents, or family members that are in your deep contact and connection, and so you've got to maintain and look after those relationships. You have spiritual, I know for me, it's very much spiritual relationships, and of course my immediate family, and a couple of friends, but which have just become part of my karmic circle. And I mean, I don't go out of my way to create contacts and connections. I don't have time for it. And I don't want to create new karmic accounts because relationships are complex and they're very difficult to manage. And they take a lot of energy. So why would I do that for myself? Okay, so that's in relationship. And in terms of materialism, we also want more and more. We want to buy more and more. And the more we have, the more trapped we become. So try and have as little as possible, because remember, we're leaving these bodies at some point, okay? And we're not going to take anything with us. And the more we have, the more our intellects are going to be pulled in those material things. You know, I've said this before, even about having children, and a lot of people get really like offended by this. But really, again, if you have the intellect to understand that we are now on a journey of becoming free of all karma, then why would you want to invite more karma into your life? These are deep karmic accounts that you're creating for yourselves. And then you would do this if you truly don't want to do this work for yourself. If you really feel that you're not a soul and you don't have the ability to purify yourself, then there is not that faith, that 100% faith. Then you will do those actions that create more karmic debts and bondages. But of course, there are times that people just come into your life without you seeking and wanting, and there are accounts there you have to settle. And for me, it wasn't a person recently, it was a little kitten that came in, and that's the second little kitten that came in. And I tried my level best to give it away, and it still ended up in my home. And that's when you know that this is despite you, because I will never go out there and get myself a pet, okay? Because I don't want to create that account. But this came in, then I know it is karmic. The soul has come to clear and settle some account. So simplify, less, more, the less you have, and the more time you have for yourself, the better. Okay. I think I've given this example before. One of our Raj Yogi brothers of ours who lives in Botswana, he had a position of a financial director. And of course, he's been on the path of Raja Yoga. So it's him and his wife, and they don't have any children. And he thought to himself, look, I want more time for meditation and more time to do this spiritual work. So, and this job is taking so much of my time. Yes, it's paying me more, but what's the point of money if I don't have that time? So he actually downgraded himself. He asked to be demoted so he could have less responsibilities work-wise and more time for his spiritual efforts. Now, this is really called soul consciousness. But we are so attached to the bodies that the fear of the body will say, what if I don't make enough money, and how will I survive? And the thing is, when I'm soul conscious and I know I don't have so many responsibilities, then I know I will survive. And if I am becoming soul conscious, the entire universe will conspire to take care of me. But it really needs deep faith in the self, in the divine, and in what's going on right now in the world drama cycle, to really understand and see that we are at that the very last, we're tipping over into a new world, into a new consciousness. And if I want to tip over there, none of my money is going to help me, none of my relationships, none, except for the one, okay, are going to help me. No one here is going to liberate you, not me, not your friends, not your parents, okay, only that one. So so none of these things are going to go with you, whether you like it or not, okay? What will go is what the state you brought yourself in, which is that karmatit state. This is why philosophy of action is very important to understand, because it is a wisdom that is really needed to steer our lives and journeys going forth, so that we are freed from all karmic bondages. So I know that was a long explanation, but I think it was important. It's a very good question, and it's important to go a little deeper into that. So I hope that helps, Jack. And yes, you will feel resistance. The ego will resist these things because we've been conditioned for so long to think in a certain way, okay? So there will be resistance over these things, and it's only with the practice of this meditation that you slowly come to understand and recognize how this is for your higher good, not just yours, but for everyone's higher good. Thanks, Jack. Is that clear?
Yeah, thank you. That was really clear. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? No one wants to unmute and ask? Anyone shy or no questions? Very clear.
I would like to ask, how do we recognize the accounts that we have to settle?
How do you recognize? Oh, easy. Because you will be they will make you feel uncomfortable. They'll make you feel uncomfortable. So these are souls who have come into your contact and connections, and you've not really chosen them, okay? And they've come in, and it's very hard to, wrangle yourself out of these situations. And that's when you know that these are accounts that you've got to settle. And generally, these are people that in very close, deep contact, some of these could be your spouses, you know, or the spouse's parents. These are deep karmic accounts because karma that we unsettled negative karmas come back in these ways and forms. And it's very hard to really just drop these accounts. In terms of colleagues, sometimes even parents. Some people have difficult, you know, the account, how you've been raised, okay? Because the soul chooses its parents according to its karmic accounts, okay? And when I say choose, it's not like the soul is now there thinking, which parents will I go to? No, whatever's in the sanskaras, that's what's going to be pull the soul to those parents. So that situation, those sanskars of the parents will also kind of match, okay? So, so then you know, those, I call them difficult relationships or situations sometimes, because body going through illness, suffering, pain. So it's not just with others, it's about, or you're taking living in a country and, you know, you hate the weather, but you're still there and you can't really move out, okay? So that's another karmic account. So anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. And so that's, wisdom is in recognizing this and empowering the self and overcoming these challenges. Is that clear, Fede?
Yes, it is. But is it important to know what do you have to clear? Or you just like have to accept what, like, I mean, you realize that, for example, you're uncomfortable with that, you realize that, you accept, and basically that is the way, or at least the start to clearing that account. Is that correct?
Absolutely. But let me also add here is, what I want to add is, when I talk about uncomfortable, it means like when you know that there's something you've got to change, you've got to become more tolerant and accepting. If there's something that someone is doing that is really wrong, okay, in terms of they are harming you, themselves, or the others around them, it's not really, their actions are very harmful and negative, then you do not accept. You clear that account by moving away or creating a clear boundary. This also needs to be clarified. If there is someone that doesn't want your highest good, okay, and are doing things that are hectic, negative, for example, physical violence and abuse, okay, or the emotional abuse, okay, this is abusive. And if you are allowing that, you are telling yourself, you are creating a sanskara in yourself that I am deserving of this. And even if you move out of that situation, that sanskara will be there and you'll be attracting the same situation. Okay. So this is also very, very important. Like I said, with wisdom, you will know what to tolerate and what to face up to and slash and cut out of your life. Okay. Very important to know. But if someone, for example, if you have a partner who leaves their clothes lying around and you have to keep telling them about it, okay, you don't cut that person out of your life, because that person on many other different levels is a very important part of your life and is serving you in many ways, okay? So I'm serving the relationship. And that's when you know you've just got to develop the power to accept or tolerate. Okay, or your interests are different. Okay, these are not basis of breaking up relationships. Okay, these are situations that come to teach us that we've got to become more accommodating and tolerate. We've got to become, you know, so that we can live with each other in harmony. So does that make more sense? Fede?
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else?
Yes, just if you can elaborate on another aspect of karma where you take all the responsibility of what's happening in your life, if you can elaborate on that.
Okay, so many times things happen in our lives and we feel like we're the victim of situations. Why is there something bad happening to me, and why and what, and all these questions come out. And this philosophy of karma now really kind of lets us reflect on the situation and think, okay, this has come into my life and it's a consequence of something I've done in the past, okay? But what can I do now to change it? And sometimes they are really physically, we can change things, okay? We just don't, the ego, the sanskaras of being victim won't allow us. In fact, the coaching that I do is in very much on that level when the ego is resisting a big change that we know we have to make in our lives, but we're not able to do it and we need that extra support and help, okay? It's because we know we've got to change, but we don't have the power and capability. We need support there. So sometimes, yes, there are actions outside that we really need to take to make a change. And sometimes they're very subtle. So the best way we can start doing it, again, like I said, is through meditation, okay? Give that situation in meditation to the Supreme, to the Divine, and watch the magic of that karma being settled, okay? I remember, I'll just give a little example, it's so funny. When we were living in Ghana, it's like, it was so socially active, such a socially active place. And I get up early in the morning and I can't do these late nights because that impacts on my spiritual efforts. And it was very hard to say, to decline all these functions all the time. And my husband was a bit more like, no, we need to and whatnot. So, and so I just basically, there was really much I could do, but I was doing a lot of spiritual efforts. And I was moved to Zambia. And once I was moved to Zambia, all that stopped. So, or really, I didn't create those accounts where I felt compelled every other night to be out at a social event. And then, although there were kids' school events that we mainly went to, but even the kids are away. So it's just becoming less and less. And with COVID, it's even become better, better than the best. So I think the more we have an intention and we meditate, the more the universe will clear those things for us. And we really feel that our life is now we are the driver of our life. And things are now working out according to our highest spiritual good. Yeah. Does that make sense? It's clear. Yeah, so certain things we can consciously make a choice, and other things we really have to, they're much more deeper and subtle, and we just have to meditate or settle through meditation. And people, this is the thing that people don't like so much, because through that we require patience, because we don't know over how long we created that account, and we're trying to settle it in a very short time. Maybe we've created an account over births and we're trying to settle that account in a very short time. So we've got to be very patient with ourselves on this journey, and just know that the law of karma is existent, whether we deny it or not. And at some level, we know it. We know that whatever we do has a consequence, okay? If we're thirsty and we drink water, our thirst will be quenched, okay? If we're gonna smoke 1 million cigarettes a day, our lungs are gonna be tarred, and then I don't know what may even happen after that. So every little thing we do, it has a consequence. So we cannot say, and it'll come back to us. It'll come back to us. But we also need to be really careful that when we know this philosophy is not like when people are going through something to say, oh, that's their karma. That's our ego, that's our arrogance, that's our body consciousness talking. Soul will say, that's a sister soul, a brother soul, and let me send them vibrations of peace so that they settle their account, peacefully. I know in the Bible it says, forgive those for they don't know what they've done, or something like that. We've done things in ignorance. We've not had, our intellects have become locked. That doesn't mean it's right, but it doesn't mean that now we become incompassionate towards others and think, oh, good for them, that's their karma, so let them settle it. No. What you could do, and don't even feel like drawn into the sorrow of that soul, because now you're also going back into body consciousness. Remain very neutral. Allow the soul to go to understand with wisdom. Allow the soul to support that soul, nourish the soul, give the soul all the loving energy that it requires and the peace. But don't get drawn into the sorrow of that soul either when they're settling an account. So, yeah, and I think we've covered, with those questions, we've really covered karma in great detail. But again, it is a great deep topic. Any more questions? Because before Abhinava gives us a meditation to finish off with. Just no more. And then really begin to now observe your life and see how some of the karma you're creating for yourself. You really, because you're just making your life more complex than it should be. Okay. So you're creating your own karma. And then we complain to others, oh, I'm so stressed, I'm so tired, I'm so this, I'm so that. And then you look at the things in your list, half of them are so they could be cut out and you'd be very happy. They would not affect your happiness at all. Okay. So if there's no other questions, maybe Abhinav, you can take us through. Or was that, what am I doing, the closing meditation?
Yeah, you can do it.
Sorry, I forgot it was me. Okay, so let's relax. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Slowly, let's just step out of this cloak of this physical form, slipping out of it easily, gently. Just feel the lightness of being bodiless, of being peace, of being love, of being power beyond the physical body and the physical senses, beyond anything material. I am light. I am free. And I am able to connect to that source, the purifier, the one who helps me to clear all my karmic debts, all my baggages and bondages. So I go into the energy field of that Supreme One, in that abode of peace, the land of silence. And I begin to surrender all that load that I've been carrying for so long. I no longer have to hold it. I have been called by the Supreme. I am deeply, highly fortunate. I am receiving help, support, and power to settle all my accounts. And so I offload anything that feels heavy, whether in the body, whether in the mind, whether in my relationships or my situations and circumstances. I just let it all go. I release it to that one. And I have full faith that this one will help me clear my accounts. And in return of this load, I receive power. The power to withdraw, the power to tolerate, the power to face, the power to pack up, the power to adjust, to discern what is right from wrong. And I open-heartedly receive these powers that are these wonderful tools on my journey to becoming free of all karma. And I graciously fill myself up, acknowledging my role as this master, almighty authority that has the ability to settle all the accounts that I've created through spiritual awareness, understanding, through soul consciousness. And I begin to come back into my body, armed with these powers, free of all heaviness, ready to give the world, the relationships that I have created, the best of myself. Om Shanti. So just imagine every day releasing loads and taking power and coming back and using these powers. And we know that in a situation when we use a power, when we feel really good about it, we know we've settled some account. That's that indication, okay? Where I could have reacted negatively, and whenever we react negatively in body consciousness, that doesn't make us feel good, it makes us feel heavy. But when we use our powers and we respond with soul consciousness to these karmic situations and relationships, I feel good. I feel really good about myself. And the other souls will receive that, and we will slowly begin to clear the account. So thank you for being here and so dedicated, and really blessings to you on this journey. To have come this far on this course means you are there on this journey, and yeah, you have that power, you have that ability to do this for yourself. So much love and blessings to you. We're going to have we're starting a new session tomorrow on the World Drama Cycle at 4 p.m. So I hope you can join us tomorrow. It's also a very interesting session, but we'll do a little bit more experiential work with the drama cycle before we get into the nitty-gritty of it. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Abhinav Bhai, any last announcements?
No, I just want to thank you, sister, for such an insightful session today. As you said, tomorrow we will meet at 4 p.m. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for joining with us. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.